Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast by closers.io where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Karen Vadnais, and in each episode, we'll uncover the stories behind successful startups, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future expansion. Today, we're so excited to have Rusty Tugman, the founder of Rusty Tugman Coaching and Consulting, joining us. With over 30 years of leadership experience, two master's degrees, and certifications as an associate certified coach with the International Coaching Federation and a certified team coach, Rusty has empowered leaders across government, corporate, nonprofit, and religious sectors. Through his coaching, training, and keynote speaking, he helps organizations foster self-awareness, confidence, and accountability. Rusty will be sharing more about his founding story and giving us a glimpse into his plans for future growth in the leadership coaching space. So let's jump right in, Rusty. Welcome to Founders Future.
Hey, Karen, thank you so much for having me.
Of course, we are so happy to have you here, Rusty. I like to bring it back all the way to the beginning. So, can you take us back? What specific leadership challenge inspired you to start Rusty Tugman Coaching and Consulting?
Yeah, great question. And it actually wasn't a problem that I was responding to, it was actually a request. So I had a friend of mine who owns a large roofing and construction company, and he was going through a challenging time with his employees and just their company, some things they were facing. And he asked if I could just come in and help him work through some things, coach his division leaders. And so that's what I did. And that led to me then coaching the CFO of a multi-billion dollar oil and gas company. And that led to coaching a project manager at Boeing. And then that led to other work. And so that's how my company was born, was just really through those types of requests.
Amazing. So, just from that simple request from a friend within his company, it was a domino effect
Absolutely.
to where you're at today. Amazing. Okay, I love that. Let's just get into the nuts and bolts of
Okay.
everything. So, can you walk us through how Rusty Tugman Coaching and Consulting generates revenue today? Like, what is your core coaching and training offer, and what does that pricing model look like?
Yeah, so through Tugman Coaching and Consulting, I help leaders be their best so they can be at their best for the people they lead. And I do that through executive coaching, team coaching, leadership training, and organizational consulting. And so what I will do is just come in and work with leaders and through coaching really help them gain clarity on the challenges they're facing and then the way forward. So far, a lot of my business has been through referrals, kind of like I just mentioned. And as far as the pricing, that's a little bit different, and I'm sure we'll get into this a little bit later. But so I have a kind of a specific niche, and it depends on who I'm working with, and I have different kind of structures, pay structures for those. And like I said, we can talk about that here in just a little bit. But that's a little bit what I do, and I've done a lot of speaking in my career. And so a lot of times what I'll do is a company will have me come in and do a training. But through that training, though, it will lead into some coaching opportunities, even team coaching, because they become more aware of how that could help them.
Okay, so doing a little bit of one-on-one coaching and also that group coaching as well.
Correct. Yes.
Okay, amazing. So, a lot of entrepreneurs that we speak with do use referrals for lead
Mhm.
generation, like you mentioned. And what they typically find is that it can be unpredictable. Can you tell our listeners here what your experience has been, and also what are some strategies that you're looking to implement to accelerate that lead generation growth?
Yeah, and that is true. It can be inconsistent, and so you definitely want to have other means of generating those leads. So my company is a little bit different in that it's really a side gig. And so my main job, I'm still in the leadership training and coaching space, but my full-time job is I'm the leadership trainer and workplace coach for a large organization of over 6,000 employees. And I manage the internal coaching program for that organization. And so what I do through Tugman Coaching and Consulting, like I said, is just a side gig. And so what I do is I only work with three clients at a time. And just because of my bandwidth. And that's really, I've found through trial and error, that's a sweet spot for me to be able to deliver the kind of quality service that I want to deliver. So I'm a little bit different in that I'm not taking on a lot of clients and so I haven't been real aggressive at lead generation. And so that's why the referral system has worked really well for me because I'm only working with a few select clients at a time.
Sure. That makes a lot of sense. And Rusty, with that full-time job that you
Mhm.
have, and also your coaching business being a side gig, what is the vision for that? Is it keeping it as a side gig and having those three clients here and there, or is it transitioning fully into that? What does that look like for you? And
Mhm.
there's no wrong or right answer here.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great question. And honestly, it's a question I'm debating with myself right now and have been thinking a lot about. So I'm in a unique situation in that I love my full-time job. I love what I do. I love the organization that I work with, the people that I work with. And so I don't really see giving that up just because I enjoy it so much.
Sure.
And so the immediate future is keeping it the same that it is now. However, I'm developing a plan for as I get older, I would like to be able to bring on more clients on the Tugman coaching and consulting side and then slowly kind of transition out of the full-time job and do the other kind of in my retirement years.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I love that. It sounds like you have a good plan for yourself in the future.
Well,
Um,
I hope so.
yeah. Yeah. Let's get into the sales process
Okay.
within your coaching business. So let's say I'm coming in,
Mhm.
I want to work with Rusty. Tell me what that looks like from initial contact to signing within the coaching or consulting client.
Yeah. So, what we would do is we would just start with a conversation, just you describing to me what it is that you're wanting, maybe challenges that you're facing, what you're wanting to get out of coaching, what you would like the outcomes to be. And then, based on that conversation, we would put together a plan that best fits you. And so that's one of the advantages that I have is with this being a side gig is that I can really customize this to the client. And so that's what I really try to do is just listen to them, hear what it is that they're wanting. And then like I said, we can customize a plan because a lot of times somebody will come in and it'll just be, hey, man, I'm facing this challenge. I don't know where to go with this. I'm just kind of wanting to get some coaching to help figure out where to go. But then as we go through the process, other needs become more clear or other directions, other paths. And so sometimes that morphs into maybe they want me to work with their team or come in and speak to their group about something. And so I have several different options that we can choose from. But it also, depending on what it is we're wanting to accomplish in coaching, that will also dictate the length of our partnership. So, for example, there are some clients that they have a really specific need that they're wanting to address, and so once we address that and they feel like that they've met that goal, then that's all they need. For others, they need more of an ongoing check-in process, things like that, to keep the momentum going. I've got some clients that what they want out of coaching is it's just a safe place for them to process. Because particularly for leaders who are really high up in their organizations, sometimes they don't really have anybody that they can just talk to and they can just bounce ideas off of. So I have some clients where that's what they want is just it's just a place to just process so that they can really think through the strategy that they're wanting to develop and then that way they're able to go and then communicate that to the rest of their teams. So again, it varies depending on the needs of the client, but that's what I really try to do is customize the coaching and the length of it and the service that I provide to your needs and what you're wanting to get out of it.
I love that. I love something that is more customized than general to your clients. And so, do you have a typical time frame as to how long you're working with your clients? I know you said it is customizable depending
Mhm.
on their needs, but tell me what that looks like. Is
Mhm.
there like 3 months, 6 months? What does that typically look like?
Yeah, it typically does look like 3 months initially. But what that will be is those are 6 sessions spaced out every other week. So every 2 weeks, we're meeting for a coaching session as that stretches out to 3 months. So that's the original agreement is that. And then we reassess as to where we are. And the reason I do it that way is because I like to give people off ramps so that they feel like that, okay, this isn't going to go on forever. They're not locked into this forever. And that's one of the reasons why I like to customize, because I know that there's a lot of coaches that sell coaching packages, things like that, and those are great, but that doesn't fit every client. And so what I have found is that 6 sessions is a really good start. We get a lot of things done in that 6 sessions. And so sometimes that's all the client needs. And like I said, it just is an easy off ramp for them. But then a lot of times we'll reassess and they want to re-up for let's do another 6 sessions or something like that. So that's what I usually will suggest is that we start with those. And if I can just add one more thing, the other part of that, the reason for those 6 sessions is because coaching is defined as a partnership. And that's really how coaching works. It's not mentoring, it's not consulting. Coaching's a different thing. And so the reason for 6 sessions is since it is a partnership, it takes a little while to just develop rapport with one another. And so I have found that within 6 sessions, that's a good length of time for us to really develop that partnership that is so important to coaching and getting the results that the client needs.
I love that. I love that, Rusty. I want to ask you, and for our listeners, if you had to identify one thing, if solved, would make the biggest impact on your business growth, what would it be for you?
Oh, that's a good question. I think right now it would probably be, I guess we might term it like fulfillment capacity, maybe, but just in terms of again, because it is a side gig, I haven't had any issues yet with lead generation just because I'm only taking a few at a time. But it really is that capacity, is that with it being a side gig, I only have so much capacity to devote to it. And so that's the thing that I think if I could figure that out and maybe be able to give a little bit more time to that, I think it could grow more because I'd be able to take on more clients.
Right. And yeah, and on that note, it can be very difficult to have a full-time job that you love,
Mhm.
you're passionate about, and then have something on the side that you
Yeah.
also love and are passionate about.
Yeah.
And you got to weigh the pros and cons, right?
Oh, absolutely. I will say this, what I love about it is that, like I said, I love my full-time job. The side gig, one of the things I like about it is that it just adds variety, that I'm able to I get to work with people in a variety of industries, from a variety of backgrounds. I really enjoy that. The other thing that, another pro to it is that for me, it really helps me. I have the luxury of being selective at who I work with. Since this is not the sole source of my income, I don't feel the pressure to say yes to everything. And I think that's helpful because there have been some people who have come to me where I'm just not the right fit for them. But instead of feeling the pressure of saying yes because I need the income, I'm able to say, I don't think I'm the right fit for you, but here's a couple of others that I know that you might reach out to who I think could be a good fit for you. And so that's part of the luxury of the situation that I have is that can be selective and I can say no if I need to or want to.
Yeah, fascinating. I've never thought about it that way when it comes to having a side gig on top of your full-time job. And I'm sure our listeners can take something from that as well. Because you could look at it both ways, right? Whether that's the side gig or if that were your full-time thing, I think the goal is eventually
Mhm.
to be there, right? Is to be able to
Right.
say no. Um,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And the thing for at least for me, and I know this isn't everybody's experience, but like the reason for the side gig is it's not because I'm trying to escape a situation or escape, is that it really did just come about just through some people asking, "Hey, could you help us with this?" And then it just grew from there. And so that's really how I see it is it's just an opportunity to serve others. And it's just nice to be in a position to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Being that you're coaching in both
Mhm.
areas, how do you see the leadership coaching industry evolving in the coming years, especially with trends like remote work or AI? And how is your business positioning itself for the future?
Yeah, you mentioned AI. I mean, that truly is impacting, I think, every sector, and coaching is one of those. It is definitely impacting coaching. So one of the ways that I'm addressing that is one, I've done a lot of study about AI and even done some courses on how to use it, and in looking at what are the applications to coaching. And the International Coaching Federation, which you mentioned earlier, it has some great resources on this, and it's really helping coaches to navigate this space. And so I'm really leaning on them to learn some of the applications of AI. Like everybody, we're just still figuring it out and doing a lot of experimentation. So it's one of the things that I want to do with AI is rather than being afraid of it, is I want to see, okay, how can I use it? What are the applications? Even how can this help the clients that I'm serving? And so that's one of the things I'm doing there. As far as just kind of other things within the industry, coaching really is a growing industry. And I think the reason for that is that people are seeing the benefits of coaching. And there's a lot of research that backs up that coaching works and it really does help people perform better. And so I'm seeing that with the organization that I work with full time. Like I said, I actually created and now manage the internal coaching program. And it's truly transforming our organization because it's helping leaders perform better, but it's also helping to create greater employee engagement. And it also is contributing to employee well-being. And so I think a lot of people are seeing that. And I think that's why coaching is growing. So I'm grateful for that because I want people to take advantage of coaching because it truly can be a game changer for people. But it also makes it a little bit harder to stand out because it's becoming such a crowded field.
Yeah, absolutely. I know the way that I see it is it's like the Wild West right now,
Yeah, it
coaching,
is. That's
right?
right. Yep.
Because I've had amazing experiences and I've had some that didn't go as well. And so you
Hmm.
just have to decipher what person is going to be the best fit for you.
Yeah,
And
that's
like
right.
you said, as a coach, knowing that you can't say yes to everybody.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, that is super important. Let's
Mhm.
go into a quick lightning round.
Okay.
So, Rusty, I know we talked about AI a little bit.
Mhm.
And I want to know what is one tool or resource that's been game changing for your coaching and consulting business?
Yeah, so I mentioned the International Coaching Federation, and that really is a great resource, and that's helped me a lot. One of the things that they do, because coaching is an unregulated industry. That's one of the issues with it is that anybody can call themselves a coach, but the International Coaching Federation is really trying its best to bring more regulation to it. And so one of the things that it does is certifying people. And so I actually just recently went up a level in certification to professional certified coach. And what that requires is 125 hours of coaching specific education and 500 hours of coaching experience. But then also you have to pass a test and then you also have to be observed coaching and pass that as well. That whole process was a great resource for me because it really helped me to hone my coaching skills and also gain confidence. And just by reps, I just got better. And so I feel like I'm a much better coach today than even a couple of years ago.
I love that. I'm sure a lot of our listeners are going to take that in. And then one more question for you,
Yeah.
Rusty. What advice would you give to coaches or consultants who are just starting their journey in this industry?
I would say focus on adding value. If you add value, particularly as a coach, if you're adding value to your clients, that's how you get more business, is when people see that you have truly helped them and you help them accomplish something that they were needing to accomplish and couldn't do on their own. So if you add value, I think that's a huge thing. So focus on adding value, but also know the value that you bring to the table.
I love that. So adding value and knowing value.
Yes.
Amazing. That does wrap up another inspiring episode of Founders Future. I want to thank Rusty for sharing his incredible journey and insights with us today. It sounds like you're making a significant impact in leadership coaching, and it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. And
It's been my pleasure, Karen. Thank you.
yes, of course. And to our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe to Founders Future wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. You can also find more resources and insights at closers.io, where we're dedicated to helping businesses accelerate their sales and marketing efforts through world-class systems and playbooks. Until then, keep climbing, and we will see you on the next one.